If you are available, welcome to my live. The last time I wanted to have this live video, but it seems like most of us were busy, and you guys suggested that I should have the live or make the live video at night when everybody might have been through with whatever they are doing for the day, and they are relaxed with their phones and other things. So that is why I decided to come on live at this time. So I'll be waiting for like welcome Uma Joyce Chinenye. Welcome. Today I want to discuss something that will help each and everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you too. Thank you. So I'll be talking about things that can help us to, especially those of us that make bread and all that. So if you'll be part of this today, you will learn how to easily calculate the amount of water, the amount of yeast, everything that you want to use to make your bread. So happy Sunday, Chinenye. Thank you. I'm still waiting. Please share this link, share this video. I have shared this video to so many people. I don't know. I'll just wait like before. I'll just wait for 30 minutes. If I didn't see anybody, if it's only Joyce that I see, I will still go my way. It's 5 minutes, guys, and I'm still seeing just one person. Okay. Oh. Yeah, while I am waiting for people to come, I want to show you guys something. This is called panettone. It's one of Italian bread cake. Like it's a combination of bread and cake. I don't know if you can see it from there. You can see. It's a combination of bread and cake recipe. I don't know. And it tastes so good. I'll be posting the video later today. It's very, it tastes so good. Like it tastes both like a cake and like a bread. Let me show you the one that I have to tie it up so it doesn't dry out. You know, this is dry season. This, you can see. That's so good. So I'm still waiting. I'm only seeing Oma Joyce. It seems that we don't like okay, I will send for you. I will send your own. Don't worry. I will share the recipe and you guys will try it. It tastes so good, like mm, it tastes so good. Seriously. Very, very good. It seems that people don't like this live chat, but okay. Probably I will not go live again. I'll just be making I wanted to discuss something very, very important. But you guys are not interested. Let me still keep on sharing the video anyways. I sent this notification around 8. Oh my Joyce. I'm thinking of ending this live chat too because I don't know. The last time it was only one person that came on live to join me. Today is only you. Anyways, I'll be ending the live chat shortly. But before I end, since you are the one here, let me just teach you one thing before I end the chat. I would like to teach you one thing before I end the chat. There's something I want to teach you. Now, Oma, in case you want to make a bread and you have maybe the recipe calls for fresh yeast. You understand? Fresh baker's yeast. But what you have is our common yeast that we are using, that this instant dry yeast that we are using. What will you do? For example, the recipe calls for like, let me just say, 15 grams of fresh yeast, and you don't have fresh yeast, what you have is instant dry yeast, what will you do? Will you go ahead and use the same 15 grams of yeast for the instant dry yeast, or will you rather lessen it or add more? Maybe instead of using the 15, you use 16 or 17 of the instant dry yeast, or instead of using the 15, you reduce it. Which one will you do? Okay, before I end the live chat, I will tell you what to do. Now, you should always have in your mind that every fresh yeast, the ratio of fresh yeast to instant dry yeast is 1:3. Like the ratio of instant dry yeast to fresh yeast to instant dry yeast, meaning that if a recipe calls for the use of 15 grams of 15 grams of fresh yeast, and what you have is instant dry yeast, what you have to do is you have to divide the 15 grams by 3. Are you seeing it now? You divide the 15 grams by 3, meaning that instead of you to use 15 grams of instant dry yeast, since the recipe calls for 15 grams of fresh yeast, instead of you to use 15 grams of instant dry yeast, rather you will use 5 grams of instant dry yeast. Are you seeing it? You use 5 grams of instant dry yeast. Are you getting me? So, and in vice versa, if a recipe calls for, maybe if you are working on a recipe and you see instant dry yeast and what you have is fresh yeast. For example, the recipe says you are going to use 10 grams of instant dry yeast, and what you have is fresh yeast. So what you're going to do is, since the ratio is 1:3, that is, you are using less of instant dry yeast and more of fresh yeast. So if the recipe says 10 grams of instant dry yeast, that means that you are using 30 grams of fresh yeast. You understanding it now? You are using 30 grams of fresh yeast. So if a recipe calls for yeast, today, what I want you to learn today is the differences between the fresh yeast recipe and instant dry yeast recipe. Meaning that any that you need more of fresh yeast than that of instant dry yeast. A recipe that calls for fresh yeast, 10 grams of fresh yeast, and you still want to achieve the same thing with the same recipe, you have to use less. That is, you divide that 10 grams of fresh yeast, you divide it by 3. Whatever it gives you is what you are going to, one part of it is what you are going to use for as instant dry yeast. But if the recipe is for instant dry yeast, like 10 grams of instant dry yeast, and what you have is fresh yeast, what you do is, instead of dividing by 3, you multiply by 3 and use it. That means you are going to be using 30 grams of fresh yeast to 10 grams of instant dry yeast. So that is what I want you to learn today. since nobody wants to be part of the live, I have shared the video on my Facebook. I have shared it to some of my friends on Messenger. I have shared it to my group on Telegram. I have shared it to my group on WhatsApp. I have shared it to my timeline and some other places, and I didn't see anyone apart from you. So that's it. Yeah, 15 grams. 15 gram fresh yeast for dry yeast is 5 gram. Then you say 10 gram. No, I'm giving you instances. Like I'm saying, for example, if you are using 10 grams, I'm giving you instances. You don't understand me. I said if you are using 10 grams, if the recipe says use 10 grams of fresh yeast, and you don't have fresh yeast, but what you have is instant dry yeast. Are you getting me? You will divide that 10 by 3 and use one part of it. If you divide 10 by 3, let me use my small phone. If you divide 10 divided by 3, that is 3.3. I seen it. That is 3.3. That means you instead of you to use 10 grams of instant dry yeast, you use 3 grams. That is if the recipe is for 10 grams of fresh yeast. I seen it. You divide that 10 gram by 3 and use what? 3 grams of instant dry yeast. You understand it now? I use that 15 grams to give you an example. Like if, for example, if the recipe calls for 15 grams of fresh yeast and what you have is instant dry yeast, divide 15 by 3. That is 5. So what you're going to use is 5 grams of instant dry yeast. But if the recipe calls for 15 grams of instant dry yeast, I seen it now. 15 grams of instant dry yeast, and what you have is fresh yeast. What you're going to do now, instead of you using dividing now, what you multiply 15 by 3. Whatever it gives you, it will give you around 45, abi. So you are using either 40 grams, 30 grams, or 45 grams of fresh yeast. Because fresh yeast takes a longer time to ferment or proof. If you are using a fresh yeast in a particular recipe, it takes a longer time for that fresh yeast to react. Unlike instant dry yeast, that's why this was called instant. Like it starts working instantly. You understand? It starts working instantly. You don't even need to. It is unlike active dry yeast. Like also active dry yeast is the one that you need to reactivate it. Most times you watch some videos on YouTube, you see them that they will say you have to put the yeast first in water, let the yeast first foam and all that before you use it. Most of those yeast are active dry yeast. Most instant dry yeast, you don't need to activate it. You just have to use it direct. Are you getting me? You just have to use it direct in what you are doing. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Okay. So you use that ratio 1:3, meaning that, let me put it back again, meaning that let me just put it in the way you understand. More of fresh yeast, less of dry yeast. I seen it now. More of fresh yeast, less of dry yeast. 10 grams of fresh yeast is equivalent to 3 grams of dry yeast. I seen it. Or let me put it in a way. Say 5 grams of dry yeast is equivalent to 15 grams of fresh yeast. 15 grams of fresh yeast is equivalent to 5 grams of dry yeast. You understand that? So, since I didn't see much persons on my chat today and it's only Oma Joyce, thank you. I believe you have learned this one today. So I'll be ending this live session now. I wanted like up to like 10 persons at least reacting to the live section. But you people are not giving me ginger. Therefore, my live station is ended. Thank you, Oma Joyce, for coming to my live station. Love you. God bless you. I'm so grateful. And I pray may good things not cease to come your way in mighty name of Jesus. Although I'm seeing other two people there, but they are not saying anything. So have a nice night. Sleep tight. Bye. Good night, Joy.